Everyone, Kat here. I'm sorry if you've been missing me on the channel for the past week. I had to take a little bit of time off for a little pregnancy related complication, but I should be back as normal next week. So before I got to that, I wanted to touch on a topic that's very important for wellness. I want to touch a little bit on nutrition, on eating, because obviously wellness is not just centered on working out. That's just one of the very many components that's around having a healthy, balanced lifestyle, wellness, feeling good, living a life that you're proud of, and that you wake up every day at least happy to be where you're at. So, I obviously, at different points in the channel, want to touch on lots of other parts because nutrition is, yet again, still not the only part of wellness that's important. But today, I thought that it would be a nice place to start. So, I want to give a general overview of what to do if you are at a point in your life where either you have never really had an idea of how to feed yourself well, you haven't done it for a really long time, you don't know where to start. So, what do? You want to go from eating whatever you want, whenever you want, or having no idea to taking control and feeling like you're in control of your diet, of your lifestyle when it comes to food. Okay, here we go. Question number one, are fad diets worth it? Whether low calorie, low fat, low carb, is it worth it? My answer, no. Here's the reason why. You may get on these diets, they may be successful for a little while, but eventually, your metabolism is going to go down. So if you're taking in 1,200 calories a day, let's say, your body is going to get used to only consuming that 1,200 calories a day. And if you eat any more than that, you're going to gain weight and you're going to mess up your metabolism, which is a big, big problem. Your metabolism is how many calories your body burns just doing normal everyday things. B, they're not sustainable. Eventually, you're going to go to a party, you're going to go to an outing, or you're just going to hit a point where you want to have a slice of cake, you want to have a slice of pizza, you want to have a beer, you want to be able to participate in the social outing. And you may do that, and that's totally fine. That's totally normal. I'm not downing enjoying yourself every once in a while. But if you've been in that place for so long where you're not taking in an adequate amount of calories, you're not letting yourself eat anything beyond a very basic small amount of food groups, it's really easy to go off the rails when you let yourself eat one thing. So you may spiral out of control and find that you are yet again eating whatever you want, whenever you want, with no rhyme or reason. And then yet again, you'll probably gain all of the weight back that you've been working really hard to lose. So those are two reasons I don't believe in fad diets. Lower your metabolism, not sustainable, and C, you didn't learn anything from it. So no one wants to be on a diet for their whole life. And if you start out with a fad diet, you're not teaching yourself how to feed yourself well for the long haul. So it's like trying to find a shortcut without really learning what to do. Yes, you know that if you take in very few calories, you're likely to lose weight. But do you really want to do that for a long time? Probably not. So you're right back where you started with nothing really having been accomplished. So what do you do if you're at a point where, like I said, you want to start doing something, you want to take control of your diet, you want to start feeding yourself mindfully? Where do you start if you're not turning to a fad diet? A, drink plenty of water, not soda, not coffee, water. You should be drinking about half of the ounces of water of your body weight a day. So if you weigh 140 pounds, that's about 70 ounces of water. Your body needs water. You are mostly made up of water. For all of the functions that your body does, water is required. That's going to prevent fatigue, that's going to prevent headaches, that's going to prevent so many things that plague us as just people. So my number one tip is start by just drinking some water. It's very easy. Get a nice big bottle of water that you fill up every day and just make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Step number 2, take an inventory of what you're actually eating in a week. How do you do this? I would suggest downloading one of the tracking apps, the macro tracking apps. MyFitnessPal, MyPlate, there's a million of them. Whichever ones you want to do, you don't have to get the ones that you have to pay for. You can get the free version and go from there. You can also do a pen and paper, write down what you're eating. I just find that that's a lot more time consuming. Why would you do this? Why would you take the time to track what you're eating now. It sets a baseline so that you have a general idea where you're at to start and what you're looking at and where you have to go from there. So say that you're eating 2,500 calories a day on an average day, and 70% of that is coming from carbs. You have a pretty good idea of what the problems are in your diet and where to go from there. Say that you look at your average week and you eat no fruits and vegetables. You eat no lean protein. You eat no healthy dairy products. That's a great place to start. So, A, drink water. B, do a foundational week where you figure out, what am I actually eating? B, figure out what your goal is. Do you want to just teach yourself how to feed yourself well and learn about nutrition and learn about healthy eating? If that's what you want to do, great. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to gain weight? Do you want to find a maintenance number where you can maintain the weight that you're at now? Any of those things are adequate goals. They all work. But you have to have a goal or some idea of where you want to go and what you want to do. So if you just want to learn about nutrition and you want to learn about healthy eating, start by slowly introducing healthier options. Maybe if you eat pasta every night for dinner, you start introducing more whole... Thanks. You start introducing more whole grain options, maybe brown rice. Maybe you start introducing more vegetables. Maybe you start introducing fruits with lunch, healthy dairy with breakfast. It's very... Harper, I'm actually doing something. Can you please watch this? I'll change it in a few minutes. So all it takes is simple, healthy swaps. And I'll do a video in the future about some easy, simple, healthy swaps. But there's plenty of resources out there. No, thank you. There's plenty of options out there where you can find great healthy swaps. But that's a great place to start. Just learning how to feed your body in a good way. Maybe, like I said, you want to lose weight. Then you're going to have to be in something called a calorie deficit, where you are eating fewer calories than you're burning every day. So if you want to be in a calorie deficit, you go to your tracking app, you say that you want to lose, say, half a pound a week. You're in, and you eat at that number and follow the guidelines that it gives you. Benefits of that, it's much more sustainable and flexible. You don't have to be eating 1,200 calories to lose weight. You can eat a great combination of healthy carbs, healthy protein, healthy fats. I would not suggest going any more. I would not suggest going any more than half a pound a week, because if you are losing weight very quickly, a lot of it is likely to come from muscle. A second goal could be to find maintenance calories. Your maintenance calories means that you're not losing weight, you're not gaining weight. You're taking in the same amount of calories that you are burning every day. Maintenance is a great place to start for anybody, no matter what goal that you're at, because it lets you know, what are my maintenance calorie numbers? With the activity that I have now, with what I do now, what amount of calories is my maintenance number? This can take a really long time to figure out, but it's really well worth it. For me, when I'm not pregnant, my maintenance number is around 1,850 calories. If I eat that, I usually have a pretty steady weight. How do you find your maintenance calorie number? You track for a week, look at your weight, see if it went up or down. Track for another week, look at your weight. And you generally move it around a little bit until you find that point where for a few weeks your weight stays steady. It takes a little time, but it's very well worth it. Maybe you want to gain weight. Then you're going to have to be in a calorie surplus, meaning that you're taking in more calories than you're burning every day. What are some examples of when you'd want to be in a surplus? Thank you. If you want to gain muscle. If you're pregnant, and obviously you have to be able to gain weight to have a healthy baby. There are many examples of when you'd want to be in a calorie surplus. But that's tip number 3. No, thank you. 1, drink water. 2, do a foundational week. 3, pick your goal. 4, I like to stick to a consistent breakfast that works for me, a pretty consistent lunch, and mix it up for my dinners. Why is that? I know I have a general idea of what I'm eating for breakfast and lunch, and then all I have to focus on is making a healthy dinner every day. The more consistent your meals are every day, the less variable that they are, the easier that it is, especially if you start using these tracking apps, especially if you're trying to maintain healthy options. It can get a little bit boring, but it's so much easier to stay on track. So number 4 for me is limit variation. But I can still pick my dinner every day. That's still picking a different meal every day. It keeps it flexible. It keeps it open for me, but it also keeps it easier and simpler. And tip number 5 is make sure that you're sleeping. If you are not getting enough sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, you are going to be hungry. You are going to crave sugar. You are going to crave things that are not healthy for you. It's everybody. Everybody feels like that. If you are not sleeping enough, you're likely to feel more stressed. There's probably more stress going on in your life. That's going to maintain higher cortisol levels to make it harder to lose weight. Then you're going to feel defeated, likely turn back to old ways. So, to recap, fad diets, not worth it. Not a great place to start. That's a great way to yo-yo in your nutritional life for the rest of your life. Not a great way to find what works for you. Not a good way to start this journey. A, drink plenty of water. Half of the ounces of your body weight per day. You weigh 140 pounds, shoot for 70 ounces a day. Coffee and stuff like that does count, but make sure a majority of that is coming from water. It can be flavored water, it can be seltzer, but water. B, track your calorie and your macro intake for a week to figure out where you're at. Use a tracker app, use pen and paper, whatever works for you. Figure out what you're actually consuming in a week. Measure out your peanut butters, measure out your cereals, measure out your grains, measure out your vegetables. See what is actually going into your body. You will be very surprised how little of an amount of peanut butter is a serving, how little of an amount of cereal is a serving. And then you'll start realizing, maybe it's not worth having that in my day for me, or maybe I should save that for a treat, or maybe, who knows, but you'll have an idea of where to go from there. 3, pick a goal. Do you want to just learn about nutrition? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to maintain your weight? Do you want to gain weight? Based on that, if you just want to eat healthier, then all that you're going to do is be looking for healthier swaps. If that's where you're starting from, that's fantastic. Think about, okay, for breakfast, I usually have a muffin. Maybe instead I'll have a bowl of oatmeal with some milk. Maybe instead I'll have a parfait. Things that you know are better fuel for your body than empty carbs. Great place to start. You want to lose weight? You have to be in a deficit. I don't suggest a massive deficit. You're going to lose a lot of muscle mass. You're going to be probably miserable, and it's going to be hard to maintain. A small deficit, you enter it into your tracking app to keep track. You want to maintain your weight. You want to maintain your weight. Spend about a month finding your maintenance number. It takes time. It is so worth it. Once you have that maintenance number, you can stay in that maintenance indefinitely, which is great. No one wants to be yo-yoing in their weight. So it's worth taking the time to find your maintenance. If you want to be in a surplus to gain muscle mass, you have to be eating more calories than you're burning. So if you're burning 500 calories a day in workouts, your body naturally burns, let's say, like we were talking about that maintenance number, 1,200 calories a day. You have to be eating at least 1,700. That's your maintenance, plus more calories to be gaining any sort of muscle mass or to be gaining weight and things like pregnancy. Maybe you're underweight. Find your goal. Next, make sure you are sleeping. If you're not sleeping, nothing else is going to work for you. 6 to 8 hours a night and go from there. So those are just some general tips when you're starting your nutrition journey, when you're figuring out what works for you. Those are a great place to start. It does not have to be super complicated. It does not have to be something that takes forever, that takes all of your time, but those are tips to start and to not spend your life yo-yo dieting. I've seen so many friends and family members that I really care about yo-yo dieting. They lose weight, they gain weight. It's not good for your body. It's not sustainable. You are not going to feel good. Take the time to learn about your body. You are in this body for the rest of your life. Some people need more fats. Some people need more carbs. Some people need more protein. Some people need less protein. You have to learn what works for you. It is worth investing your time to figure out what works for you. You are going to be in this body for the rest of your time here. So take the time. Look at it as another investment in yourself. Just like exercising, just like sleeping, just like self-care. This is a form of self-care. It is worth the time. So thank you guys so much. This is just a quick little nutritional overview. If you like this, let me know, and I'll definitely be sure to post something like this. I plan within the next coming weeks to post something about self-care and mental health, and then we'll go from there. Thanks, guys. As always, this is Kat. Strong, not skinny.